Hi everyone, welcome to the Amir Khan Show. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, and we'll talk about some headlines that are coming out of New York City with the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. And recently he announced that grocery stores are coming to New York City. So this is a campaign promise that he ran on and is in fact delivering on this promise. Now, someone like yourself who may be listening to this and say, I don't like his message, I disagree with socialism because we live in a free market capitalist society and I want to keep that. And I'm totally with you. I agree with you when you say that, but I think we can't just say socialism is bad and just stop there. I think we actually need to provide examples of why socialism is bad and it has not worked in the past, because clearly New York City has accepted socialism with a bear hug, but they'll soon find out that they're going to get clawed by this bear. And and I don't think we necessarily need to go to countries like Venezuela or go halfway across the Atlantic to Russia or China to see why socialism has not worked there and won't work here. I think we could just look in our backyard and look at the government and look at the public sector that we have in America and see examples of that as to why big government does not work. And one example of that would be to look at our public schooling system, specifically in inner cities, where you could see that 50% of the kids cannot read at their grading level. Most of them can't do basic arithmetic. They can't do STEM at all. You could go into our public library system in the U.S. and you could see that most of our libraries are closing down because the libraries that are being run by the government are too busy, specifically in inner cities and blue states. They're so focused on drag queen story hour, and they're more focused on putting kids in front of screens and competing with other libraries on how we could get more kids to put them in front of bigger screens and not actually give them the material that they could use to further educate themselves and just develop skills that are necessary for their age. We could look at the example of the government getting involved in housing, and because of the government being involved in housing, backstopping federal, their Fannie Mae loans and getting and saying, hey, you could get involved in FHA loans by putting 0% down. All these things have pretty much propelled housing prices to stratosphere levels, where the average home buyer is now in his 40s. The median home buyer is now 59 years old because the government practically has sucked up the supply from the private economy, the private market. You could look at the examples of when government gets involved in Section 8 housing. Pretty much a gangbanger's wet dream is Section 8 housing, because they could go over there, they could pretty much run it like it's their own mob city. They could run the Section 8 housing and pretty much sell drugs like they're at a candy shop. So all these examples of just the public economy in America as to why it does not work. And so when we take that and take the public economy and pump it up with steroids and say we're going full-blown socialism, or we're going to control the means of production, then that's just dangerous territory. And so let's even look at what Mamdani is promising. So I'm going to quote him here. He says, once a month, our 5-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail price. So when anyone first hears this, when I first heard this, I said, oh, so everything's going to be 30% off. But when you read the fine print, you find out that it's there. You have to actually define what a core good is, and you don't decide what a core good is. The government decides what a core good is. So one month it may be fish and chips, the other month it may be something else. And as we've seen, like, if ask yourself, like, do you eat the same thing you ate 2 years ago? Do you eat the same things you ate 10 years ago? And likely not. So the fact that the government is going to be involved in not just setting prices, but also um, going to have to adapt to the changes of food behavior that Americans go through every month. But so that's going to be interesting to see, and I don't think they could actually keep up with it. And the second thing, which is even more dangerous, is that this is going to really put businesses out on the street. There are tens of thousands of mom and pop shops in New York City. As someone whose family owned a business, specifically the grocery business, I could tell you that it's a very tight margin business. So what you're not really making money on selling cigarettes or lottery tickets. Those are just hot items to get people in the door. They're likely going to buy that to get like chips and soda and milk and eggs or things like that. So the fact that now you have the government that is directly competing with private businesses, this is going to be extremely dangerous. So more to come, more to see what happens on these 5 government-run grocery stores. They're expected to open at the end of 2027. Stay tuned.